Alright, hey everybody and welcome to Snapshot 13W01A, or B that is. I switched to B earlier today. It's, as usual, B is just a bunch of major bug fixes. So it'll run a bit smoother for you if you're playing the current version. There's a whole bunch of new things added in this update, and some of these things may look confusing that is, to you, but I am going to show you the ropes. First, I'm going to start off with some of the non-redstone stuff, and then we'll move on to the redstone stuff, since this is going to be a major redstone update. So, one of the first, less major things, but still something that a lot of people will probably be happy about, is that netherrack can now be smelted. And you can smelt it into these bricks here, nether bricks. And when you take these bricks and put them in this formation, it makes a nether brick. And they have the same name, they're both nether bricks, so I don't know how that works, but let me show you this. I'll also show you another new feature they added in this snapshot. If you hold right click when you have items in your hand, you will add one of that item to each block you go over. And when you go over those blocks again, you can't add the block again. As you can see, I have 0 left. When I'm done, I can make the nether brick. So, another cool thing, let me just take a bunch of these nether bricks here, is that if you say had this and you hold left click, it equally distributes the items within the blocks that you have gone over. So as you can see, the 16 there, and if I keep moving, eventually it'll just run out into ones. But yeah, so now you can see I've got a big mess in my inventory. So if I double click, just regular double click, it'll all be put into one stack. This works for chests too. It's a good way to organize your stuff. And say you had all of this in a chest. So let's go back to this chest. Oh, it's getting nighttime. Let's set it back to time 0 / time set 0. Alright, so if you put a bunch of these into this chest, you're gonna, oh, not that one. You're gonna notice that it's a bit of a mess to clean up. So if you want to put all of that into your inventory, you can simply hold shift and double click. And there you go, all the stuff is in your inventory, and you double click there, and it's all organized. A bunch of new features that'll really help you organize stuff and make crafting recipes. So, the next thing that they added was the hopper. The hopper is really cool. You can make it with this formula here. So let's take these in the chests, and I'll show you. I'm going to prove it to you, and just in case you don't believe me, using that new right-click feature. It doesn't have a texture for its thing yet. I can't remember what it's called right now. It just says work in progress, but when you put it down, you'll see there's this little thing hanging off the top, and if you take a chest and put it down, you have to make sure you hold shift and right-click on the chest. As you can see, that pipe changed its location. It is now facing the chest. So if I took a bunch of rotten flesh, for instance, and dropped it into the hopper, it'll go into the hopper, and then it will transfer over to the chest. It does have a transfer time, but the cool thing about this is that if you have a bunch of them together, so if I had that one there, that one here, that one there, if I throw one into the top, throw some stuff into the top one, it'll make its way down. As you can see, they're transferring, and they made it into this chest, so that's really cool. If the pipe is not facing the chest, though, it will not transfer and it'll just store the stuff. Same thing if the chest is full, it'll just store the stuff, and if you miss or there is no room left in the hopper, the stuff will just sit there and you'll have to deal with losing it. So that's a whole bunch. That's some new features that added. The hopper can be used for automatic egg farms, mob grinders. Those are just a couple of the things that they can be used for. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other things that they can also be used for. Now, there's a few more new things. Of course, there's a bunch of new things, but one of the major things you'll notice is if you go to the nether, you'll see this new block. It's called quartz, and if you mine it, it'll drop quartz, nether quartz, and it drops these. You don't have to smelt anything, it just drops these. So if you use a fortune pick, you can get more. This is a good thing to use a fortune pick on, and that's using a lot of the new crafting recipes for that, for instance, and that I'll tell you the names in a minute. But you might also notice this kind of gorgeous block sitting on top here. I love the look of it. It's another redstone block, I think it's another, not another, I keep saying another. It's a redstone block, and if you put it into the crafting square in a 9x9 form, yeah, a block of redstone. It's really cool. The cool thing about it, though, the coolest thing, is that it's pretty much a movable torch. So if you put it down, as you can see, it emits a redstone signal, and it can be pushed by a piston. So if you want a movable redstone torch, this is what you're going to have to make. It's not overly expensive, considering how much redstone you usually get just by going on mining trips. So it's a pretty cool block, and it'll have a lot of uses, I'm sure. I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure it will have a lot of uses. Another thing that's been added is actually a new item that you can use. It's the trap chest, and the trap chest can be made by putting a chest and a tripwire. Let me prove that to you. Into a crafting square. I actually didn't even have to go over here to make it. Makes the trapped chest, that is. And normally, if you don't have a piece of redstone next to it, it works like any other chest. But if you right click it, let me see if I can get. Actually, let me just put this. What's in here? A redstone lamp. That works. Let me put a redstone lamp here, and when I right click it, you can see it emits a signal because the redstone lamp is on. Unfortunately, the signal is very short. It only goes one block. So if I put the lamp here and put a piece of redstone down and right click the chest, as you can see, the lamp is not emitting a signal. This trap chest can be used to protect your items if you want to set up some sort of trap, i.e. the name, around your chests in case somebody comes and tries to steal your stuff. It can also be set as a trap on adventure maps. It's a really cool item. Now, this is one of my favorite things added in this newest snapshot. It's called the daylight sensor. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It can be made by using 3 nether quartz in the middle, wood slabs in the bottom, and glass on the top. Let me grab this stuff and put it in for you. Nope, that's the wrong spot. And come on. There we go, the daylight sensor. Cool thing about this block is it senses daylight, and it doesn't sense regular light, so if you put a torch next to it, it won't sense anything. And you can tell it's at full length right now, I believe. Yes, this is as far as it can go. I don't know how many blocks that is. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. 15 blocks out. So if you want to use this to set off lights during the night, you can. So it's a really cool object, and as the daylight gets lower, I don't think it'll go anytime soon. So last time sets 8,000. Right? No? Is that lowering it at all? Yeah, as you can see, this back one back here turned off. It'll get lower and lower as the light gets less and less. So you can put this in spaces where it's not directly above, or nothing's directly above it. So let me put something right here. And it shouldn't lower the light too much. But the more shadow you put on it, I believe, will cause it to have less light. Maybe it just senses light, period. Yeah, it looks like it does. Let me break this middle block here. Yeah. It does cause the daylight sensor to sense less and send out a lower signal. Like I said, it can be used to, if you're on a server, set off lights, or maybe it's your house if you want to make sure the creepers don't get in. That way you don't always have to have your lights on and run up that electricity bill. So that's something cool that's added. There's also, before I get to this, I wanted to mention these things right here. These are new pressure plates, and they don't work by you going on them. They actually work by dropping items on them. So they can be made with gold ingots to make the light pressure plate. That's this one, in this formation. And then iron ingots in this formation to make the heavy pressure plate. And the way it works is if you take items, let me take this stuff, double click, new favorite thing. If you drop them on here, as you can see, the redstone signal will increase the more stuff is on there. And this one requires a lot less than the other one does. It's getting out there. Yeah, but I don't really know what the limit to these things are. I've never really tested it. I assume it can only go out a certain distance, otherwise it would be kind of broken. And then this one, let's try dropping a bunch on here. I've been having trouble with not shift clicking, but dropping whole items out of your inventory. So let me see. I'm pretty sure there's a way to drop whole stacks. I just can't remember without going into your inventory and dropping them. Yeah, as you see, it took a whole stack and there's only 2 emitted. So maybe this is a way of making sure somebody collects a certain amount of items on, say, an adventure map. You have them drop the stuff on there, and then they can get through with their activities because you emitted enough redstone signal. Although, honestly, it could be used for a whole variety of things. So, that could be taken advantage of on an adventure map. Now, this last one here is called the redstone comparator. This thing is really cool. It's really confusing, but I'm going to show you the basics. And it can be made using this recipe. Once again, nether quartz. Throw the nether quartz in the middle, the stone on the bottom, and the redstone torches like that, and you get the redstone comparator. Now, basically what this does is it takes 2 different inputs and makes 1 output. So, this is input A right here, this side, the side with the 2 prongs, and these sides on the left and right are input B. So you can have the input coming from either side or multiple inputs coming in from both sides, but the basic idea is that if this signal is stronger than this one, if this signal is stronger than this one, then it will emit a light for the redstone. Let me set it back to time set 0. Alright, so if this one is stronger than this one, it'll cut it off. And if this one's stronger than this one or equal, or if this one is stronger than or equal to this one, it will send out a signal. So let me make this a bit longer for you. Let me take that. And as you can see, it's off. It should be the opposite way. Oh, there we go. Yeah, because I had this one on here. This one, basically what it does is, I don't know if this is a bug. It's supposed to emit whatever you had left if it's on like that. And if it's off, it's supposed to emit a full signal. So I don't know if that's a bug or if this is the way it works, but I found out that if, say, I had 2 on here and I made this one 3 and turn that on, as you can see, if I flick this, it'll cause a 1 block extension for the redstone. But if I did this and made it 1 more block longer, it'll cause 2 blocks. So what it seems to be is that you take however long the length is of your current redstone and subtract it from this redstone length, and that's how much you actually get. It's kind of weird. It seems like a way to just have a really long redstone line, depending on how long you make this. But I prefer to just do it like this because you get the full length all the way out to here. You two. That's about it. I did find out some new ways to use the daylight sensor, the trapped chest, and the redstone comparator all in one total collection to make a machine. Basically what it is if you're playing on an SMP server and you go into the server and you want to make a shop, normally you have to just make sure your items are protected, but this allows you to have the door open for a certain amount of time, depending on what time of day it is, have the lights on and come on when it's nighttime, and at night, if you have your door closed and somebody tries to take your chest, then they will get they will fall into a pit or get hit by something or whatever you want to do to make sure somebody doesn't steal stuff from your shop. Basically how this works is, let me go over here, is the daylight sensor. You can make it however long you want. I made it 1 block in length. It'll be on over here and it'll go up to right next to the door. That'll keep the door open until nighttime, and then at night, if you go back over here and go through this tunnel here, this is for my lights. So the daylight sensor is how it works. It's input B. So as long as input A is greater than the daylight and then the time of day being set out. Why are you down here, chicken? Get out of here. You're messing up my formula. If the amount of daylight still up creates a greater amount of signal, then does this switch over here. I guess you can do it any other way. I just made a switch. You could probably use another daylight sensor if you wanted to, if that would work. I don't know if that would work. but it sends a signal here. When it becomes too late, the lights trigger, and I put a bit of a delay on here. It goes through this signal, goes up, activates this torch. That one it deactivates this torch and activates that one, causing the lights in your house to turn on, or shop, or whatever you're using it for. This is my trap shop. And then if somebody were to come in here at night when the door is closed, so let me demonstrate this for you. /time set, that's at set 12,000. Need a space there. Having a terrible time typing. So the light should be coming on any second. Let me set 13,000. Set 13,000. Alright. And come on, lights. Come on, buddy. There we go. The lights are on. That's good stuff. So the door is still open, but it will be closing shortly. As you can see, that redstone signal is getting pretty weak. If you were, say, trapped in here, though, when the door closed, you wouldn't want to open this chest anymore. You'd want to go through here, and that's an exit way for you, but you can't get back in afterwards. So it's a good way to protect your whole area. So if they open that chest, oh, the door closed. As you can see, I can no longer get in here without breaking in. If you want to break in, that's up to you, but you do it at your own risk, because if we go back over here and go up here, when you open the chest, it sets off a signal, and if it's nighttime and the door is closed, then it will set off this thing, which will go to whatever trap you want to set up. This is a pretty basic setup. It's probably pretty clunky, really. I'm guessing I can make this a whole lot smaller. I didn't really have to go all the way over here to do it. I could have just done it right here. But I decided to be very complicated with this whole process. And really, you could probably set it up to where it's working with one daylight sensor. I don't know how expensive these daylight sensors will actually be, because I don't know how rare the nether quartz is going to be. But other than that, there's not really too much to add in this update. That'll about do it, really. So if you enjoyed watching, you thought this was informative, remember to like and subscribe. I do a lot of these snapshot videos, so I hope to see you guys here next time. Peace.